Welcome to Sports with Passion. I'm your host, Bronna Marks. Topic number 1, Colin Kaepernick update. Haven't heard from him in a while, right? Recently, he filed a grievance against the NFL that NFL owners were colluding against him, which means to conspire or basically just plotting. The lawsuit is basically saying that a few owners were convincing other owners and other people not to hire him because of what he did on the field about a year ago, kneeling. Still causing controversy, still continues to impact the NFL heavily. Among those owners, names you may have heard of, Jerry Jones, Robert Kraft, Bob Nair. These are people that I've all covered in my videos who have either said something very suspicious about NFL players kneeling or something very controversial. And just a reminder, Bob Nair I never covered, but he did have a controversial subject come up in a meeting about the protest and continue to say that we don't need the inmates running the prison. You guys could think about that one. Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys, has made multiple statements against NFL players kneeling, even though he did choose to kneel after Trump said controversial things about the NFL. He has his own motives. And Robert Kraft has also insinuated that he is not for NFL players kneeling. Recently, after this news came out that Colin Kaepernick was filing this grievance, news also came out that the Texans were considering him as a quarterback. Now, when the Texans head coach, Bill O'Brien, was questioned about Kaepernick possibly being a quarterback option for the Texans, who recently lost Deshaun Watson, their top quarterback, probably was going to bring them to the playoffs. And now they have to rely on somebody like Tom Savage, who is not a very strong quarterback. And they didn't have anybody else besides Savage to put on the field. Kaepernick's numbers versus Savage don't compare at all. And when Bill O'Brien was asked, he made this statement. He said, well, we considered him, but we also have to consider that he hasn't played in a while. But they did recently sign a quarterback, Josh Johnson, who is 31 years old and has not thrown a pass since December 11th, 2011. Now, we're in 2017, okay? We're in 2017. Kaepernick has only been off the field for about a year. He's also only 30 years old, so he is younger. And in Johnson's career, he's thrown for 5 touchdowns and 10 interceptions in his career. In his lifelong NFL career, that is all the stats he has put up. Well, what about Kaepernick? 72 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. I mean, come on. The numbers are right there in front of your face. For a team like the Texans, who was probably expecting to go to the playoffs with Deshaun Watson, why would you pick up a quarterback like Johnson when you have a quarterback like Kaepernick, who is unsigned and who has great numbers? One reason and one reason only, because of the controversy. And the person who I just said made that inmate quote, Bob Nair, guess who he owns? The Texans. Of course. So why would they hire somebody like Kaepernick? Another team in question about the QB situation is the Packers. They recently lost Aaron Rodgers and had to put in their backup. Their backup quarterback is just sucking all over the field. He can't get out of the pocket. He gets sacked with open players in the field. He has no inner time clock. So the Packers really don't have any reason not to sign somebody who's better than him, who would take the Packers possibly to a Super Bowl, which Aaron Rodgers was well on his way. And now they have dropped almost to the bottom of the NFL power rankings. Why? Because they don't have a QB option. They don't have anybody to lead them. And Colin Kaepernick, again, not an option. Why? Controversy. After Bill O'Brien and the Packers were both somewhat confronted about this situation, there was a meeting called for Colin Kaepernick to meet with Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner. Apparently, it was said that Kaepernick denied the invitation to speak with him, but his lawyer actually said that the NFL denied him after they wanted a mediator in between the commissioner and Colin Kaepernick. Why wouldn't you want a mediator in a situation like this? There are two sides, two extreme sides, and they're trying to come to a middle ground. And everybody is upset There's no way you could put two mad people in a room together and expect them to get along. That's common sense. That's human interaction. It doesn't really make any sense why they don't want a mediator. They just want one side to win. It's not gonna work like that. And Kaepernick, if he hasn't said it now, with his actions, he's not going for a middle ground. There's the right and the wrong, and there's nothing else in between. NFL players should have to protest how they would like. Point blank, period. And more recently, breaking news basically, Jerry Jones has threatened the NFL that he will sue them if they extend Roger Goodell's contract. Jerry Jones has had multiple issues Roger Goodell this year, including the way he has handled NFL protests and the discipline of players. That's outrageous. Sources claim that those are not the only reasons why he doesn't want Roger Goodell to extend his contract. He said he didn't agree with him moving some teams to LA, that he didn't agree with how he's handling news of viewership declining. He just doesn't like the way he's doing his job, basically with everything. But most recently and most important, NFL players and the protests. He has hired the lawyer of Harvey Weinstein. He's a Hollywood producer who is being charged with hundreds of allegations of sexual assault. That connection? Kind of weird. There was another lawyer, the New York Times reported this, that said he doesn't really have a standing ground for suing. Jerry Jones has way too much money and way too much time on his hands. There are other owners that say they don't like the fact that Jerry Jones seems to be trying to take power away from the commissioner, and he's trying to take power over the NFL. He has a huge influence on the NFL. He has money. He's a Trump supporter. He has power in politics. Topic number 2. Is it March Madness yet? No. The NCAA basketball season begins this Friday. And guess who made headlines first? Take one guess. The Ball family, of course. LiAngelo Ball was arrested. Yes, he was arrested in China for shoplifting with 2 other teammates. They have been let out on bail. They will remain in China for about a month. UCLA basketball team plays Georgia Tech on Friday, and then they will be leaving. They will be leaving Shanghai and going back home. 3 players that they're gonna have to go through a China court process. They went into a Louis Vuitton store and shoplifted. There was no aggression in the act. They did try to steal something. China does not play games with their prisoners or people who commit acts of crime. Here in America, people have something called privilege, but in China, they do not care. LeVar Ball refused to give a real statement on what's happening because it's a legal situation. Walking out of a hotel with his wife in her wheelchair and said, he'll be fine, everybody's making a big deal of it, but he's gonna be just fine. He didn't look too pleased. The Ball family, they don't seem too at peace. Lonzo Ball, not doing so well in the NBA. The Lakers are 5-5, and he's only averaging 29% from field goal range, which is nothing. In the game against the Nets, a stat was released that Lonzo Ball was the first 2017 first-round pick to go 15 minutes in a game and go scoreless. So does he suck? He has a lot to work on. Between his brother gonna be in China for a month, he's not even gonna be able to play on a team, and his younger brother being homeschooled, no update on him yet. There's a lot going on in the Ball family, in the big baller brand. Topic number 3, the NBA. Seems to be the year of Michael Jordan comparisons, performances, all of that. It's just like MJ's spirit has come over players and they are just up putting 40-50 points on the board. It's amazing and exciting to watch. First, James Harden put up 56 points and had 11 assists in a game. And this was against the Utah Jazz, the 3rd best defense in the league right now. And he just massacred them, just was shooting everywhere, just putting up points on them like pow. The beard is out here. And of course there was a stat related to MJ. He's the first player since MJ to shoot 75% in a 50-point game. The last time that happened was in 1996. Another player on the rise, may I say, and making a name for himself, if he doesn't already have one, is Kristap Porzingis. Love that name. Kristap Porzingis on the Knicks. Let me remind you really quick. When the Knicks drafted Kristap Porzingis, there were so many boos in that arena, you could barely hear the commissioner speak. But Porzingis, oh, definitely not terrible. Since he stepped on the court day one, he has been an aggressive player. But this season, oh, he is becoming the face of the Knicks, especially after they traded Carmelo Anthony, who was supposed to be the face of the Knicks, but kind of fell off. Porzingis recently put up 40 points in a game. Then he put up 37 points in a game. He has set the Knicks franchise record for most points scored within 10 games. He has scored 300 points in 10 games. His average point per game is 30, which is the second highest average in the NBA right now. And this means so much for the city of New York, because the New York Knicks, they have always had an incredible fan base. And coming from New York City, I should know. Madison Square Garden, always packed, whether the Knicks are losing terribly or they're winning amazingly. There are always people in that arena screaming and supporting the Knicks. Imagine now with somebody like Porzingis, who brings the hype, who makes the shots, who kills his blocks. I mean, he be murdering people. He's 7 feet tall. So when he goes in for a block, the whole arena feels it. Another 40-point game, Giannis the Geek Freak. I'm not about to butcher his name. He's on the Milwaukee Bucks, and he is one of the best, youngest players in the NBA right now. He's made a statement that he will not leave Milwaukee for a bigger team or a bigger city because he feels comfortable there. But honestly, he should go. He should take his talent somewhere else. They haven't won an NBA championship since 1971. Giannis is also the first player in NBA history with multiple 40-point games while shooting 70% in each in his first 10 games. He's amazing. He's a young player and has a long way to go. Not too sure how long he can be on the Bucks and waste all that talent. Now, of course, LeBron the King James. He has broke multiple records, multiple stats in just about a week. He had a 57-point game with 11 rebounds and 7 assists. And this comes not too long after the 4-game skid that had the Cavs in question of a playoff berth and an NBA championship. He surpassed 29,000 points, and he is the youngest to do so in his career. He also played in his 800 consecutive regular season game where he scored 10 points or more. And the only person above him is Michael Jordan with 866 consecutive games with 10 points or more. Now LeBron, he'll always be the king. And even in his 30s now, he's killing the game. He's at his prime. Of course, he had a petty moment, and he posted a picture of Arthur, the cartoon, clenching his fist. And this was after Kyrie and the Celtics won their 9th straight game. LeBron James was quoted saying that he just liked Arthur. Can't he do that? I mean, of course, yes, LeBron, you can like Arthur if you want. And the Celtics are looking like the team from 7 years ago because they haven't won 9 straight since 7 years ago when the original Big Three was on the court. Now Kyrie, he is looking like the old Kyrie. He's doing his thing on the court. He even scored 35 points in his last game. So they're going to be a big contender. They're going to be a big problem against the Cavs. I just want to wish good luck to Corey Coleman and Josh Gordon, who are finally back on the field for the Cleveland Browns, my former Baylor Bears. Sick 'em. Hopefully I get to check in with them on the next video. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.